Krishna. We are on verse number 4, Dāmodarāṣṭaka, which goes as follows. Varam deva moksham na moksha vadimba nochanya vrineham vareshadapiha idante vapurnata gopa labalam sadamimanasya virastam kimanyai. And the translation is, O playful one, to you who can bestow any benediction, I pray not for liberation, nor for eternal residence in Vaikuntha, nor for the perfection awarded by the 9 limbs of bhakti, for nothing. If you fulfill my ardent prayer to incessantly behold your form of a cowherd boy in my mind, then of what use are any other boons to me? Bharam means boon, older English word. It means benedict. We use the word benediction, which is a little later. But blessing, wish fulfillment. There is a deity in South India, in Kanchipur, whose name is Bara. What's his name? Bara. Not just Baradev. No. And Kuresh, or he had one devotee who was born in a non-Brahmin family, and of course South India was very, very much within the sort of clutches of Smarta Brahmanism. So there was very little opportunity for those who were non-Brahmins, born Brahmins, to be able to render any form of service to deities. But in any case, he was known as a pure devotee. Ramanujacharya, of course, really reformed this whole misconception, at least for some time, and then it constantly keeps resurfacing in different ways. Even in Srila Prabhupada's time, we had similar examples of this from his godbrothers of all people. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur risked his life to give Brahminical initiation to non-Brahmin those in non-Brahmin families, and yet still this is there, and also very much there in Vrindavan. In any case, they used to talk, and look it up, name of that deity. Someone can look it up on their telephone. Kanchipuram Vara. And this devotee used to always stand there and fan. Well, not like this, because what they used to do, they pull the fan over his head. You get anything? And And they used to converse, just, well, I'm talking, but if I'm having a conversation with somebody, did you try going out on the boat?
Yes, we tried out.
And did you succeed?
Yes, they are first of all they're doing it very nicely. You can go smoothly and you can keep the line.
So they were conversing like that, except he's going to have difficulty swimming and rowing at the same time. Vairaj. King of boons, king of those who gives boons. So they would talk just like that. Talk about many things. He's a form of Lord Vishnu. And he was known for giving blessings, boons. Krishna also, of course, he is Krishna. And Krishna gives all kinds of blessings, benedictions, and here some are listed. Param moksha. So moksha in the lesser meaning of the word is really just free from the modes of material nature. Sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate namchayo avyabhicharina. So brahma bhuyaya kalpate, that someone has achieved moksha, liberation, is that he's free from the modes of material nature. Moksha, in another sense, is that one has achieved actually impersonal liberation and has becomes a full-fledged worshipper of Krishna's impersonal feature. Why would someone want to worship Krishna's impersonal feature? Because that's the kind of education they get. That's the kind of shraddha or the type of faith. According to the faith that you have, that's the kind of bhakti that you practice. And how does faith come? So faith comes by hearing from saints. Bible says, faith cometh by hearing. So according to who you hear from, you develop a certain faith, and then that then becomes your sadhya. A real example of a Brahmavadi is, one example is Shukadeva Goswami, another example are the Kumaras. And it was when they saw the origin of that Brahmajyoti, namely Lord Narayan, then they became Vaishnavas, they became devotees, Shanta Bhaktas. Shanta Bhaktas. Of course, another moksha is the moksha of Mayavadis, but that's not really suited in any way for Vaishnavas. It's not of course, these may be progressions for Vaishnavas, but Mayavad philosophy is Mayavadi Basya Haya Sharvana. So your spiritual life really comes to an end when you start to want to become one with Krishna, and there are two forms of being one with him. One is to merge into his body, and the other one is to merge into his effulgence. The merging into the body is considered to be worse than merging into the effulgence. And then, of course, there's the moksha, or the liberation of the Buddhists, where they don't want to become anything. So nirvana. So at the juncture of matter and spirit, then, or in the Gita, Krishna says, Urdhva Mulam Madasakha Ashata Prahuravyayam. So Urdhva Mulam, the material world is the upside down version of the spiritual. So whatever is up in material is down. So this takes place in optics. If anybody learned optics in school, who's learned optics? So it's very simple. A lens reverses what you see. So in order to see something properly, you have to have two. One reverses it this way, and the other one reverses it back. But one lens goes from the high to the bottom. That means that there's a certain point, so you've got you've got anything. You've got a temple here, and the temple comes upside down on the other perspective. So the picture, there comes a certain point where there's no temple. Here it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, but there's a certain point, at the point of inflection, at the point there's no figure. So this is Buddhism. And so all of these are Param Deva Moksham, Na Moksham. Then there's the 9 types, then there's the 4 types of Vaishnava liberation. Have the same body, born on the same planet, have the same opulences. So these types of liberation are also available to Vaishnavas, but real Vaishnavas don't want them. Can you tell us there's AC? I don't know whether it's just me or, but I find it quite hot. So, what do we ask from Krishna? Mama janmani janmanishwari bhavatat bhaktir ahoitaki tvai. So this is it. Mama janmani janmanishwari. We don't even ask to be freed from this material world, but we're asking for unalloyed devotion, pure devotional service, loving devotional service, birth after birth. And devotional service means serving. So we want bhakti, we want a purified heart by which we can offer pure service. Param Deva Moksham Na Voksha Vadimba. So a devotee, Srila Prabhupada would very often highlight this point that the devotee doesn't even want to go back to Godhead. On the other hand, the motto of our BTG magazine is back home, back to Godhead. So, and sadhana bhakti is defined, skriti sadhya bhavat sadhya, as that devotional service by which we do want to attain prema bhakti or bhava bhakti. So, yes, we do want to go back to Godhead, but our motivation for practicing service is not that. Our motivation is to please Krishna. The result is going back to Godhead. So there's a difference. One is that I'm doing something because that's the result I want. That's the immediate one. I'm only serving Krishna because I want to get out of this world and I want to go to the best place possible. That's not the motive. But the motive that I'm serving Krishna to please Him, and the result of that is that you go back to Godhead, which may mean you go back to Godhead that actual physical place, or you go back to Godhead, that state of consciousness. In any case, Goloka Vrindavan is a state of consciousness, which can be experienced when one is actually even here in this material world. But traditionally, because such advanced devotees come down to this stage of being a Madhyamadikari, a second-class devotee, therefore they're in the material world and they're not back to Godhead unless they let go and sometimes let loose their spiritual emotions, which will carry them to that spiritual realm for a little while. So Chaitanya Charitamrita describes how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would have three states of consciousness: external consciousness, internal consciousness, where he's completely oblivious to the material world and he's just absorbed in Krishna Lila, and half internal, half external, so in and out. He's relating somewhat to the material world, but the effect of the internal is still there. So Varam Deva Moksham Na Voksham Vadim, but I don't want any of these things. What do we want? Nachanyam Vrineham Vareshad Apiha. So, although it is stated here, Vara Ishat, you can give any boon, it's being repeated. So what is it? Idam teva purnata gopala balam sadami manasi avirashtam kimanya. That I can always think about the form of this Gopal, Bala Gopal. So think of this form of Krishna in this childhood form. So now that shows the nature of the worshipper here, is that this is his sadhya. This is the perfection which he wants. He wants a perfection in which he has a relationship with Krishna as a little boy. Now we don't know in what particular, Krishna's in the form of a little boy. Now does that mean there's no such thing as a Madhurya Ras at that stage? So there's either someone's in a role similar to that of a parent or similar to that of a friend who's also in that. Servant, Krishna had servants at that age, although it would be more mothers who were actually taking care of him rather than cowherd boy friends, because they were, obviously there could be older ones. They wouldn't be so young because they wouldn't know how to serve. So the author has this desire to always think. So why? In that is implicit that he's willing to be in the material world, he's willing to be in the spiritual world, smartavyam satatam Vishnu. Because the essence of bhakti is to always think of Krishna. Thinking of Krishna takes place in many ways. Thinking of Krishna is when you're trying to think of Krishna and most of the time it doesn't work well. Or thinking of Krishna is when you don't think of Krishna at all. Then thinking of Krishna means I'm trying to think of Krishna, but still my mind goes elsewhere. Then thinking of Krishna means that yes, I'm able to fix my mind on Krishna. And of course, fixing my mind on Krishna means fixing my mind on Krishna's service as well. so that one doesn't stray either from the holy name, Krishna's pastimes, doing arti, cooking, etc. So thinking of Krishna, and then is thinking of Krishna with affection, and thinking of Krishna with love, and thinking of Krishna in a relationship, in rasa, with him. But in any case, thinking of Krishna is there. And for instance, Srimati Radharani, when she's talking to the bee, then she's describing the pinnacle of this thinking. She says, I try to forget him, but I can't. I don't want to talk about him, but even though I don't want to talk about him, I'm still just talking about him all the time. So I promise I will never gossip anymore, but I will 5 minutes from now. So because it's so habitual. Similarly, when it becomes so habitual that you just can't stop. And that thinking about Krishna ultimately becomes, thinking also means dreaming, because when you're sleeping at night, that's function, the mind is functioning like that. So dreaming, that's also a way. And in Madhya Lila, and in the description of Rath Yatra, I'm just trying to think of the exact name of the chapter. Anyway, there, Lord Jagannath is talking to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Lord Jagannath is Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Srimati Radharani. And Jagannath is Krishna is telling Srimati Radharani that by the grace of Lord Narayan, by worshipping Lord Narayan, I've received his grace, and by the grace of Lord Narayan, I'm able to come to Vrindavan every night. Now you think that you're dreaming of me and engaged in pastimes with me, but actually it's not a dream. I'm really here in person, and we are physically enacting pastimes. And then again I go back, and then again by Lord Narayan's grace I come. But very soon I'll come back to Vrindavan, and then I will always be with you. So dreaming at night, that's also a form of thinking. So awake or at night, and at a certain point, devotee loses the sense of, am I awake? Am I asleep? Am I thinking? Is this actually happening? So because Krishna within the mind is almost like Krishna externally. Krishna externally manifest is called Sakshat Darshan and Ishtadeva Spurti. So Spruti is within the mind. In other words, when Krishna appears in our mind, now we chant Hare Krishna, and then sometimes Krishna or his form or activities appear in the mind. When that becomes exceptionally imbued with love, it is called Vishputi. V meaning very, very powerful. So it's almost like Sakshat Darshan. Sakshat means himself. So Krishna is personally, physically present. Krishna personally manifests. So in any case, this always thinking about Krishna, it then becomes the key. When a devotee is thinking, and in due course of time, he doesn't know now, am I in the spiritual world or am I just in my mind? And that's also described. At the end of Jaiva Dharma, a very, very beautiful last paragraph is so nice description of how this one devotee is attaining perfection. Similarly, at the end of the last part of Madhurya Kadambini, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also explains in a very similar way that the devotee is so absorbed that he doesn't even notice that he's died, his body is, he's left his body. Of course, this is at the stage of prema. He doesn't even know that he's left this body because he was absorbed in thinking about Krishna, and now he's just with Krishna, and then he doesn't even, and when he's with Krishna, as far as he's concerned, he was always there, he never left. So, smartavyam satatam Vishnu. Krishna says, Mama nushmarad yudhyacha. Just always think of me and fight. And when we're thinking of Krishna, then Krishna is also thinking of us. Why? Jejitamam prapadyanti. Does Krishna not think of us when we're not thinking of him? But Krishna knows everything and everyone. But one way of his thinking is by dint of his majesty, that he is abhigya swarat, so that he is all cognizant, he knows everything. But the other is because we're thinking of him. Why do we think of, you think of somebody because you have some love, affection. And you have some affection for that person. To the degree we have affection, to that degree we think about that person. And just like when, I don't know, boy and girl are in love, or a mother and their child, especially a newborn child, and they're always just thinking. It requires no effort whatsoever. It's love makes them think. So similarly, then Krishna's reciprocation is not because he's all cognizant. Krishna's reciprocation is because he's reciprocating with that affection, and he is also affectionately thinking of us. So, idam va purnata gopala bala manasya avirashtam kim anyay. Kim anya. What is the use of other things? Bhagavatam says, Kim va parerishvaraha. What do you need anything else other than this Śrīmad Bhagavatam, or the conclusion or the teachings of Śrīmad Bhagavatam? Nothing else is required. So Kim Anyay. And in the 6th chapter, Krishna says, Yam labde chapare labhyam manyakena adikam stito yasmin stito nukkena gurum api vicharayet tan yoga samyogam viyoga samjitam sanishchena yoktavyo, and so on. But yam labde chapare labhyam, once one has attained this, he thinks there's no greater gain. Like here, Kim Anyay, then what else? Once I have this, I don't need anything else. So this is the Krishna consciousness. This is the aspiration of devotees, and It is the ultimate, if you can say, ultimate means that there's an end, but you could say actually it's endless, but it's the ultimate example of selflessness, of selfless love. And it's this thing that purchased Krishna. Krishna can't match it, and in one sense he can't believe it. He can't match it from the point of view that there's only one Krishna, which means that a devotee is fixed. Ekeha Kurunandana. He just fixed his mind on one person. Krishna can't be fixed on just one person. If he's fixed on one person, then what's everybody else going to think? So, of course, there's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He sort of explains, or he resolves this issue, how Krishna can be one-pointed. In other words, when he's thinking about, when he's running away from Mother Yashoda, he's not thinking about us. But he is. Now, how's that possible? That someone's not thinking and he is thinking. I mean, in material calculation, you have to do that in time. It means that, okay, now he's, in this second he's not thinking, but in the next second he is. And the next one he isn't, and the next one he is. So it's like, it's like quickly moving computer like that. But that's not our philosophy, and Krishna is not limited by time. So we have Achintya, Bheda, Abheda Tattva, simultaneously one and different. So he's simultaneously not thinking of us, and he's simultaneously thinking of everybody. Yeah, we don't even understand how something like that works. What to speak of duplicated? Well, we can't duplicate it because we are under time. But that's God, and He is able to do that. But still, from a objective point of view, this unique ekeha, one-pointed love of the devotee, Krishna can't match it. And then devotee doesn't want to enjoy, doesn't want spiritual life. Narayana parasarvena kutaschana vidyati Swarga apavarga narkeshu api tuvayartadasha. So a devotee, Swarga, apavarga, naraka, whether he's in hell, whether he's in heaven, whether he's in Vaikuntha, it's all the same to him. Now, Krishna has difficulty matching that, but that's how selfless devotees are. They just want to be able to serve, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Kita Janma. Even if I'm born as a Kita, as an insect, even if I'm born, but let me be born in a home of Vaishnava. Why? Because there's going to be remnants, Vaishnava remnants. I'll be able to eat Vaishnava, Mahaprasadam, Mahaprasadam. So that way I'll be very fortunate. Always give me the association of Vaishnavas, and always let me chant your name and think of you. So, Kim Vapare, what else do you need? You don't need anything else. And a devotee feels like that. I don't need anything else. That is pure devotional service. I don't need to add anything. This in itself is enough. Hare Krishna. Okay, tomorrow we will continue with verse number 5. Jai Shri Radha Damodar ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Panchatattva ki jai.